those are some big trends that we're seeing. Kind of, how do you respond to all that? And this is, forgive me, but it's more of a high-tech slant because that's, I think, what most of the people in the group, most high-tech, electronics. Plus, although I work with some apparel consumer goods, a lot of the folks I work with, my practice works with, are high-tech, telecom folks where technology is a big deal. And these 8 imperatives we've seen come out as ways to deal with this demand environment. So regardless of tales of woe, and yes, it's harder, it's not the same as it was before, regardless, not just cutting costs, which is, first of all, there's a limit to what can be done there, and second, it's not exactly shareholder enhancing once you get to a certain level. There are absolutely things you can do as a company to increase revenues. And so working with people like Cisco, for example, they're large, but they're still not mature in the industry. You know, it's still an industry that's not quite to where somebody like automotive might be. The geographic expansions. There's a lot of opportunity in the emerging markets, and how do you handle that? So if you go into Brazil, for example, you must have a certain percentage of local content. So if you're going to manufacture down there, who are you partnering with? And the way your legal entities are set up. Are you a sales organization, a manufacturing organization, a distribution organization? So that's a big deal. And acquisitions, that might appear to be obvious. Of course, you'd buy companies, especially when their valuations are lower. What we've seen is even companies that have a good reputation out there, they never really integrated the companies. Maybe the products, you know, they have sales lists and commissions and price lists and things. But as far as process integration, typically haven't done that. They let them operate separately, which what means is you have different IT systems. You have different, some cases, finance areas. Certainly different ways of doing things with products. And the problem with this is when things aren't static and you're trying to grow and scale, you asymptotically hit a wall. You just can't get there anymore. So you have these thresholds where companies go from maybe it's $1 billion to 3 or 3 to 8 or 8 to 10, and they physically can't go anymore because their acquisitions in the past never were really integrated. And plus, there isn't this idea of capabilities-based companies. It's more products and units-based companies. And so a lot of companies we're seeing many years after the fact are slowly starting to integrate them. And by that point, it's a little more difficult. And of course, new product development. We talked a little bit about that before. But this idea of generating ideas internally, generating them externally. Some companies are pretty good at that. But then what do you do? How do you get them into your funnel? And how do you make judgments on them? In the real world, there still is that back room, smoke-filled room where people are horse trading. Because if you get a program and this person doesn't, then somebody gets more funding, more capital funding, more development funding, and they might actually get a better path to that next level. So you see a lot of that going on because even if the merits of a product or a program warrant one versus the other, politically it's very difficult. So a lot of that's